gentlemen, we're back. We had the week off, July 4th. We had to sweat through some PFL on a Saturday, but we got UFC Nashville this Saturday. I'm excited to have the UFC back. I'm excited to break down the card with a man that I didn't know before I met him. Kyle Marley joining us tonight on the HI Picks YouTube channel. He does not have a YouTube channel, but he does have an X or a formerly known Twitter. And I didn't know who the guy was until I met him in Atlanta. We had a good time in Atlanta. He's a good guy. Apparently the DraftKings assassin. I mean, the DraftKings king is Kyle Marley. How you doing tonight, brother? Ready to break down this UFC Nashville card with me?
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I think I might have been in Nashville for the fights the last time they were there. And now they threw out this banger of a card for us with two favorites over minus 1,000. We got a couple others over minus 600. But I'm good. I'm glad to be on here talking with you. I had a good time with you in Atlanta as well. We're going to have to do that again, run that back as soon as possible because even though the card sucked, I feel like I still had an awesome time, you know?
I feel that. I'm getting a couple chats saying that my mic is off. So it sounds like you were correct. Let me just switch it real quick. I'll be right back. Because it sounds good on my part, but it could be the different mic that I'm using.
All right. Fair enough. Yeah, I was thinking it was on my end, man. It took me like 2 minutes just to load into this StreamYard. I'm like, oh, this is a great start. This podcast is going to be all fucked up for me. But hopefully it's just yours and we're good to go. Say again.
Does it work now?
Sounds the same to me. How about chat? What do you guys think?
Mic is off.
Sounds the same still. It's going to sound really nice and crisp when you come in, though.
How about now?
Same?
How about now?
Same?
Same?
Maybe a little bit, maybe better now.
A little bit better?
Yeah, different. Yeah, different. Yeah, that's cool.
That's better?
I think so, yeah.
It should be better. This was my OG mic.
It sounds, maybe it sounds possibly both. I don't know.
Same? Dude, what's going on here?
Maybe you're too much of a boomer too, bro.
Dude, I think here, maybe I'll plug this.
We could have both troubleshooted our mics, man. I got mine back here. But I'm too afraid to put it in because then I wouldn't hear you.
How about now?
Same.
Dude. Start to piss me off.
Yeah, I think I'm hearing it the same way.
This is great, dude.
Yeah, we are using StreamYard, Dan.
Sounds like he's on the shitter while on speaker. Robert, you're talking about my mic, right?
Jeez,
yeah, dude.
Yeah, we can't hear you though.
You can't hear me?
Yeah,
it's just really bad.
Go to your mic setting on your computer and change the mic you're using and not your computer mic, Dan says.
You know, that's probably right. Edit mic settings.
Gonna have to edit this show.
Dude, this is disgusting. If I told you how much time it took me to set this whole shit up, you would be. Oh my God. So pissed. What a way to start the show. Settings. Audio.
This was my fear coming on that it was going to be me doing this.
Ready for this? This is going to work.
How about now?
Oh my gosh. So clear. Wow. Whew.
There we go. Now we're back. Now we're back. You know, the problem was because I had used a different camera for when I did my my video on Sunday, and that just messed everything up. So it looks like we're cooking now. We're cooking.
Dude, you're not freezing at all either. You might have just fixed everything. Let's go.
Perfect, dude. It was picking up some camera far across, so I guess that's why it sounds right. But
Let's
all
go.
right. I don't think we should waste anybody else's time since we've had some viewers stick around throughout the technical difficulties. I apologize for that, but if you don't know, I moved into my new house and I just got all of my stuff on Saturday. So I'm trying to set up my studio now. And there's a lot of moving parts. That's why there's like just a blank wall behind me. And we're trying to figure it out. But let's get into the fights, man. That's what the people are here for. First fight of the night, we got Fatima Klein, Melissa Martinez, and you're really going to be loving these odds. I mean, Fatima Klein's minus 1,200. Melissa Martinez comes back at like plus 800. I'm not really feeling a real shot on Melissa Martinez, but I will say this. If it's on the feet, it will be somewhat competitive. But either way, I think Fatima Klein probably beats her on the feet as well. She's going to get taken down. And when she gets taken down, I expect her to get put through the ringer. I think Klein's just a lot bigger, a lot more physical. Melissa Martinez, I was watching back the Elise Reed fight. For one, she got taken down like 3 times. She got her back taken partially up against the cage. Not a good look because Elise Reed sucks. But she also weighed in at like 113 pounds. So this chick's probably an atom weight. Fatima Klein held her own against Jazz Davicius at 125 on short notice. And then she goes out in her next fight and finishes Victoria Dudikova. Excuse the burp, sorry. And I think Fatima Klein could probably find a finish here as well. What do you think about it, bro?
Yeah, I don't know how to play this one. I mean, I'm not going to lay minus 1,200 and throw her in any parlays here, but I just don't really see how she loses this fight. I think she has her covered everywhere. The only thing that would come to mind would just be it is a striking match, volume somewhat close, and judges are idiots. So maybe that way Martinez could win, but I think Klein clearly beats her on the feet, and I think she just has her way with her on the mat. So I think I would lean with either a decision prop or a submission prop. You're thinking finish? Because I was kind of thinking she's going to win 30-27 or better.
Yeah, I could see that. It's just, I mean, if you're getting taken down and kind of, I don't want to say ragdoll, but like Elise Reed had some good positions on her. I feel like Fatima Klein is going to make you pay for those. The only worry would be that Melissa uses pretty good footwork, so I think it could take a little bit of time for Klein to track her down. But I think if she gets a takedown, like late round 1, round 2, it's going to be a little bit easier. Round 3, it's going to be even easier. I think it could snowball. So I would probably look towards the fight doesn't go. Here at plus 100, I had that written down. And then maybe Klein inside the distance. But again, I mean, you're talking about women's strawweight finishes, so it's not really great. But I mean, maybe you could lay the chalk on Fatima Klein minus 3.5, minus 450, man.
or maybe like a Klein 2-3, something like that. If we're thinking a late finish, get some plus money.
Yeah, I was thinking Klein 2-3, but they're not really giving you, some great odds. I mean, round 2 is plus 425, round 3 plus 525. Like, I think they see it the same way that I do. The money line is just not even playable. It's not even parlayable. So, I mean, it's tough. But, I mean, it seems like we get a couple of these every week now where it's, minus 1,000. And it's like, well, what do you do? Do you really count on a finish? Yeah. And you have to, like, choose which round. Like, last week, or last card was Jacoby Smith. Everyone was like, okay, round 1. And then he gets it done in round 2. Where it looked like he could have knocked him out. In round 1, it looked like he had Nico Price like slept. He landed like a big right hand. I was like, dude, I thought he was falling over. I thought it was it. That was done. And and then he started wrestling him. And then he looked gassed. And then I guess he got a second win. He got it done. But these big favorites, it's tough to really find a bet that I like. But I wouldn't say the fight doesn't go up plus 100 is that bad. Honestly, I feel like it's more like 55-60% outcome. We'll see, though.
Yeah, tough one. I mean, really, it's not a bad fight to miss if you got some other shit going on during the day. You start a little bit late, and then just you expect Klein to win by the time you start the card.
Yeah, might just be a late arrival to the card on Saturday.
Exactly.
feel like this card is easy to bet. I feel like the line is insane. It is big, dude, but like I think the ground advantage should show, you know? At some point it's going to show. Well, this is a dog. She will fight for your money. I mean, somewhat, yeah. I mean, let's just say she's down on the scorecards 2-0. How is she going to win? Like, is she going to land some spinning head kick? Like, maybe.
No, she would need like a torn ACL or something.
Yeah, right? Like, it's women's strawweight. If you can't grapple, like, you're probably going to have a big disadvantage, especially if you're going up against a good grappler. But let's not waste any more time on that one. We'll go to another big favorite on the card. Mike Davis coming in here after shit in the bed against Faraziem. But I saw it coming. I had a bet on Faraziem, and I was almost shitting my pants when he had that calf slicer in because I thought Faraziem was looking amazing. He was stuffing all the takedowns. Mike Davis was pulling guard, and I'm like, oh, my God, this is going to be the freest underdog money I've ever seen. And he put him in that calf slicer, and thank God Faraziem doesn't have knees, or maybe he busted his knee. He just couldn't feel it, but it was nasty. Everyone talks about Mike Davis with high praise, and I get it because the guy is super talented. He's a great athlete, and it seems like he has like a complete MMA game. But the downside is like the guy just doesn't really care. It's not that he doesn't care, like he's not training, but he doesn't really care to win. He doesn't really care about his career. So that was kind of a big reason why I faded him in his last fight. And I also thought, Faraziem made some really good improvements to his game. But in this one, I mean, he's minus 900. So he should absolutely win. Mitch Ramirez doesn't, stand out to me when I watch him. He doesn't really do anything special. Doesn't really do anything that well. He's just kind of in there. He's got a couple, first round knockouts. Cool. I guess he's got some pop. And when he fought Carlos Prates, I was pretty confident Carlos Prates was going to knock him out. And it really didn't take that much. Like, it only took about 20 significant strikes for Carlos Prates to get him out of there. And when he did land, I think it was a straight cross, left hand down the pipe. And it looked like Mitch Ramirez got like tased. He went down in the weirdest way. Did you watch that fight?
I didn't rewatch it. I don't remember it off bat. I figured, minus 1,000 for Mike Davis. I don't have to watch too much Ramirez here.
Yeah, no, it was on the Contender Series, and Prates hit him with a left hand, and it literally looked like he got tased. He went like somebody tased him in the back.
Yeah.
It was weird. But then he comes back and makes his UFC debut on short notice to Thiago Moises, gets leg kick TKO'd, pretty much dominated the entire fight. But yeah, I think Mike Davis should be able to get a win here. But I mean, I don't think minus 900 is in the cards for me, considering who I think Mike Davis is when it comes to his fighting career. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, his last fight was a worry. He did not look good in that fight, but it was much tougher competition. And this is the same as last fight, where I just really don't see any edge for Ramirez in this fight. I think that Davis should be the clear minute winner, whether it's with wrestling or just using boxing. I think he's going to be the higher volume striker, the more dangerous striker. And if he wants to mix in takedowns, take less damage, he can do that as well. I would lean closer to a TKO rather than a submission. And I do think he could pile up the damage on this guy, where I'd rather take my chances on a TKO rather than even the decision prop. So what's it looking like? Plus 150 right now, Davis by TKO. I think that's probably my favorite play.
Yeah, we'll pull up the odds here, but some dude's chirping you. Said they got 1090 Jake on.
That's my brother.
Jake. I don't remember what that guy looks like, but I remember the name.
I remember he's got some, like, if I knew his little hand thing that he did, I'd say
I gotta look him up, bro. I gotta look him up. 1090 Jake.
I might have seen this dude on the comments. I feel like I've heard that before somewhere else on another show, actually.
Oh yeah, it's this dude. I don't know if you can see it, but hey, if you gained like 100 pounds, got some tāds and a chain.
Let me just go to a buffet for a few weeks, man. I can pull that off.
Yeah, low-key.
Halloween.
You could. All right. Dave, you said Davis KO? Plus 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think he should be able to get him out of there, man. Like Ramirez has been finished by leg kicks. He got hit with the taser by Carlos Prates. Like, I mean, Thiago Moises ain't much of a striker. Like, that's always been his downfall. And if you're getting leg kick TKO by Thiago, I feel like you should probably get TKO by Mike Davis. So I'm kind of with you there. The under 2.5 minus 165. I mean, if Ramirez catches him with something, maybe, or Mike Davis just fucking blows his load or something. I don't know, but you're probably just better off taking Davis inside the distance. I could see a sub though. I mean, Thiago had his back, and Thiago's a good grappler, but he found his way out of there. Davis inside the distance. What does that say? Minus 135, 155. It's a little far away from me.
Wasn't even listening.
Minus 155. Is that what it said?
Yeah.
Another distance.
Yep.
Yeah. KO sub. I mean, it's tough because I remember Maddie had a huge bet on Mike Davis KO against Natan Levy, and he knocked him down in like the first minute, and then they just grappled, and in round 2 he subbed him. He was so pissed.
Yeah. I hate playing props really, but you have to if you're trying to make a bet on a fight where there's a minus 1,000 favorite.
That's the tough part, dude. Like you're trying to choose the path to victory, and who's to say he doesn't knock him down and then jump on the back, you know?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if I had to play the money line, give me Ramirez, to be honest with you. I would not lay minus 1,000 on Mike Davis.
I mean, I laid it out at the beginning of the breakdown. It's like this dude doesn't really care about his career. Apparently, he has like some medical issues as well. I mean, it's
Dan was in chat. Lyme disease. Yeah, I heard that as well. That's not good. Jim Miller had a bunch of issues for a long time where he had some cardio issues, and that was from Lyme disease. So it's not going to help him at all. It's definitely not going to help his volume, not going to help his cardio. And minus 1,000 on a guy with Lyme disease against anybody who's competent that's just reckless gambling if you're laying that.
Very, very reckless. But let's move on from that because not really too interested in betting that one. We'll get into a better fight here, all right? Kennedy Nzechukwu, Walter Walker. I feel like this could be like one of those beef fights of the week. Like, which side are you on? Because there's some compelling arguments for Walter Walker as the underdog at plus 175. But Kennedy, it seems like he's just the better fighter, in my opinion. He's fought the better competition. He's definitely going to be the better striker here. If he can keep the fight on the feet, I think he could probably win. But it's the question of if, because he's going up against a pretty good athlete, in my opinion, who has like some decent takedowns for heavyweights. He'll get to your hips, pick you up, slam you. Like, I think his takedowns are pretty good for heavyweights. But you know, Kennedy's fought some decent wrestlers as well. I'm interested to hear what you got to say on this one. What do you got?
Yeah, this could be one where the winner just looks like they should have been a big favorite in hindsight. Or I just see it as a striker versus grappler matchup. Kennedy should have the clear edge if he can stuff takedowns, keep this fight on the feet. Walker, I just don't know if I trust his cardio enough for him to win 3 rounds by using takedowns and keeping top control that way. I just don't know if he's got it in him. So I think he's more of a big-time round 1 worry. He could submit Kennedy if he's able to get that early takedown, or even like a ground and pound TKO or something like that where the ref steps in. But if he can't get takedowns, I think Kennedy has his way with him on the feet and ends up getting a TKO at some point. So I would rather look towards fight ends inside the distance. That's looking at minus 150 right now. I'd rather take that than a side, but my side is going to be Kennedy. I just don't think that Walker is proven enough for me to take him over Kennedy, who does look good. I mean, there's times where, I mean, he started out green, and he's been in the UFC for a long time at this point. We haven't seen him against many good wrestlers, but I don't know how good of a wrestler Walker really is. So I'd rather see it before I start playing Walker, you know?
Yeah, I was actually kind of thinking the opposite. I was thinking maybe to take it over just because I don't think Walter really engages too much in the striking. And if he's failing his takedowns, like, I don't think he's going to be just marching in there looking to strike with Kennedy. So when I looked at it, yeah, over 2.5, minus 105. I mean, we haven't had a heavyweight finish since Ryan Spann and Waldo Cortez Acosta in March. So it's been some time since we've had a heavyweight fight end inside the distance.
Wow.
I think if Walker gets him down, he could probably hold him there for, a couple minutes. I don't think he's going to sub him. I just think Kennedy's good enough to, deal with a heel hook, but we'll see. Volter talking pretty highly about his heel hook, but I mean, it's Dontel Mays and fucking Junior Tafa. Like, that's the thing when I looked at Volter Walker, he's faced probably the 3 worst heavyweight grapplers. Lucas Dresky, who he still lost to. He still lost to Lucas Dresky. Lucas Dresky can't defend a takedown for anything.
That's true.
Carl Williams was chucking him around the cage. Junior Tafa can't grapple for anything either. And we'll talk about him later. I mean, he got held down by Muhammad Usman for 10 minutes of the fight. And then Dontel Mays, I mean, look at his last fight against Thomas Peterson. He got taken down and held down for like 13 minutes of the fight. So those are 3 of the worst grapplers. And that's obviously Volter Walker's strong suit is his grappling. And I actually faded Volter Walker in his UFC debut because I'm watching his tape. I'm like, this dude's a bum. He can't strike. He's just big, and he hasn't really beaten anybody. But after he took that loss, I did see like he took his career a little bit more seriously, lost some weight, and I did bet on him to beat Junior Tafa because I'm like, this guy can wrestle. Junior Tafa can. But Kennedy, he can defend some takedowns. Like, he's got like an 80% takedown defense. So I think Volter's going to be stuck on the feet here. I don't know that Kennedy's going to find the KO, though, because I don't think Volter really puts himself into bad positions on the feet. And I don't really think Kennedy has like fuck you power, like big heavyweight power. I think he's more of an attritional guy. So maybe Kennedy could get it done in late round 2 or round 3, but I don't really see him like come out of here sparking him in round 1. So that's why I kind of lean towards the over 2.5. Maybe a Kennedy round 3 or decision type of thing for me. But Nzechukwu is probably, I mean, he's going to be my pick for sure, but I don't know exactly what betting angle to look at. I'm just kind of talking through it in my head, but I had written down the over 2.5 Kennedy decision at plus 275, but round 3 decision for Kennedy might be the way that I go about it. Sorry for burping, boys. I'm drinking this Olipop. You ever had an Olipop?
I haven't, but my wife has. My kid loves when she has it.
Olipop root beer, dude. I think it's better than regular root beer. I mean, it's obviously not a bunch of sugar, but I'm also tracking my calories, dude. Trying to get shredded. All right.
Nice.
Trying to get shredded. Trying not to be like 1090 Jake,
Heard that, man. Yeah, I got to go work out after this video, apparently.
All right. Olipop, delicious. Not sponsored, but if Olipop would like to sponsor the kid, come at me. Zinachino is in the bottom lip tonight, but that's also probably having to do with the burps. The Zin burps is a real thing, dude. I don't know if you've dabbled, but the Zin burps is a real thing.
Interesting. Learn something new every day.
Sergio says the over 2.5 is live. Volter Walker money line lock of the weekend, says 29 MC. I see a lot of love for Volter. I'm just not completely sold because I just don't think his competition has been to the level of Kennedy, and I think his matchups have actually been really good for him. So, maybe Volter could pull off another heel hook. We'll see, but I think you're kind of banking on a Volter finish. I don't think he's going to ragdoll him for 3 rounds.
Yeah, I kind of think Walker wins round 1 and then slows down with the wrestling, and then Kennedy puts him away late.
That was one thing that I was going to say, but you could honestly play Kennedy live after round 1 probably because Volter's round's probably going to be early on, and Kennedy's kind of a slow starter. So,
yeah, good call.
Good stuff there. We'll move on to some more women's MMA. I know you're happy to see Lucky Lauren Murphy back in that octagon, nearing 42 years of age. Everyone's, jumping out of their seat, just cheering on Lauren Murphy as she comes back for her retirement fight, or at least I believe it's going to be her retirement fight against the much, much younger Eduarda Mora. And Eduarda Mora comes in as a hefty favorite as well. I think she's nearing minus 700 or so. I'm going to let you go first on this one, man. What are you thinking?
Man, at 41 years old, we haven't seen Lauren Murphy in 2.5 years, I just have a hard time thinking that she made any improvements, you know. And the Murphy before, even if we bring in a 39-year-old Murphy, I don't think she's beaten Eduarda Mora. She's going to need to – I think she drops round one no matter what. But I think she needs to tire Mora out with her wrestling. And then if she's able to keep it on the feet in round two and round three, maybe she could put up volume and possibly win that way. But I just don't see it happening, especially at 41 years old. So I think Mora's going to land a takedown or two or three in each round and control 10 minutes of the fight on the mat for a clear win here. She could just get a finish. I mean, at 41 years old, you're not getting paid by the minute. If things aren't going well for you, maybe you give up your back and you take the rear naked choke loss. I don't know, but I just think Mora should clearly win this fight, whether it be a 30-27, 30-25 type of decision, or a rear naked choke, or she just flattens her out and gets the TKO that way. I think she could win anyway.
You're throwing the 30-25s out there. That's crazy, bro. Yeah, so just take Eduarda Mora, what, minus 15.5, and then you'll be at like what, plus 100.
all three 30-25s. That'd be great.
All right, we'll pull up the betting odds here before I get into it. But man, I really think Laura Murphy is just tough, man. Like, she's just tough, and I think coming back for one more fight, like, how can I really get excited about that? Because even if she had fought her 2 years ago, or you give me the form that Lauren Murphy was in 2 years ago, I think she could put up a good fight, because I don't really think Eduarda Mora is like a world beater. I just think she's going to be way faster in this matchup. I think she's going to have more options, because, like, what does Lauren Murphy do? I think she just kind of walks forward and throws punches. It doesn't really look like she tries to set up much. Maybe she'll look for a takedown. But Eduarda, I just think, has more options. I think she'll be the faster striker on the feet. Not that she's some amazing striker, but I got to give her a little bit of grace. Like, her UFC striking stats look terrible because she's going up against Veronica Hardy, who uses a ton of lateral footwork, doesn't absorb many significant strikes. She won the first round of that fight basically countering her with big shots, and then she won the second round with her grappling, and then she lost the third. The fight before that against Denise Gomes, she's severely weight drained because she was at 115. And Denise Gomes hits hard as shit. Like, she's one of the hardest hitters at 115 pounds. So, I mean, those are her last two fights where her striking didn't look that great. But Lauren Murphy, on the other hand, is a punching bag. So I think Eduarda Mora could actually, win rounds on the feet, even though her striking hasn't exactly won her fights in the past. I don't know that she's going to have a ton of grappling success in this one. Like, I think Lauren's a pretty big girl for the division. I don't think Eduarda Mora's takedowns are something you can't stuff. And she kind of pulled back on the amount of takedowns she shot against Veronica Hardy because she gassed out against Denise Gomes. So I'm kind of interested to see how Eduarda Mora approaches this fight, if she's going to be takedown heavy or if she's going to have a similar game plan to what she did against Veronica Hardy. But at least I saw some improvements in her last fight. So, yeah, I think Eduarda Mora wins, but I don't know that it's going to be, like, dominant, man. I don't think it's going to be super dominant. I mean, maybe if she can get into a good position on the ground, she can land a ton of ground and pound, because Murphy's only been finished once, I believe, and it was to Valentina Shevchenko. Like, she had no success in the fight. She got TKO'd in round 4. That's going to happen when you're Lauren Murphy going up against Valentina Shevchenko. But this ain't Valentina Shevchenko, man. Like, I think Lauren Murphy could probably put up somewhat of a fight. I think the money line's a bit insane. But then again, like, on the other side, you're at a woman that's almost 42 who's been off for 2.5 years. So you can't really be super excited about that. Be like, oh, yeah, this plus 420 is really going to look super live. Like, she could easily go out there and just throw it in and put her gloves down. So you don't really know what you're going to get there. I think if you get the best version of Laura Murphy at 42 years of age, she could probably win the third round. Like, I think she could maybe win the third round. So maybe you get plus 3.5 on Laura Murphy at plus 150. but I think the fight probably goes to decision. And I don't know that it's going to be 30-25, but I think a 30-27 or a
maybe overboard.
Yeah, a little bit overboard, but I think the fight probably goes to decision. So, I mean, Eduardo Mora by points at -180 is, I mean, what would you say that is? 60% outcome? Like, do you think you could argue 65% outcome?
What 180 is 65 almost. So if we have to argue 60 to 65, there's no value.
That's what I'm trying to say. It's like I don't really think.
I mean, if you told me that she was not going to land any takedowns in this fight, I'm taking Murphy's money line.
Oh yeah.
But I would maybe look to more a takedown prop. I think she gets more than 2.5, so I would take an over on that if it was close to an even money.
Ooh, so you're kind of alluding to a Eduardo Mora DFS angle.
I mean, I'm not against that. There's so many big favorites on this card. I think it's going to be a tough DFS card. But yeah, like an underdog prop type of thing, I think that would be a decent way to look at it. DraftKings doesn't have their props yet, but usually later in the week they'll have takedown props.
Sergio, shit. Seems like this will go to decision. Murphy has really good counter wrestling. She does have some pretty good takedown defense. That's why I don't really think Mora is going to be like just ragdolling her all over the place. But the youth, I think she could probably have some success early. Mora by Marab back kisses to the back. Gotta love that. Murphy had a foot injury. Didn't know about that. I just knew that she was old as shit. And
2.5-year foot injury? What the fuck?
Her last fight against Jessica Andrade was like literally disgusting to watch. She should have been TKO'd like 20 times. Like Andrade landed 230 some significant strikes in a 15-minute fight. It was brutal to watch, but let's move on from that one. We'll go to this one. I think there's a lot better fight to talk about. Jake Matthews, Chidi, Bang Bang, and Giacomani. Jake Matthews, last fight against Francisco Prado. I faded him, and I thought Jake Matthews looked amazing. I thought he looked, Prado moved up to 170, which I don't know why, but he just looked like the faster, cleaner boxer, and that's more of what Francisco Prado does. So Jake Matthews looked great his last fight. Chidi, his last fight, I backed him as an underdog, and he came through. Knocked out Elizo Zaleski dos Santos in round 2 with a knee. And Chidi at 170 is now, 3-0 in the UFC? I think Chidi's just a beast at the weight class. He also did miss weight, though, his last fight against Zaleski. So you probably want to keep an eye on the weigh-ins this Friday to see how Chidi looks. But either way, if he misses weight, like he still showed he can go out there and get a knockout. I think Chidi is going to have a lot of success here from range and in the clinch. But if Jake Matthews can keep the forward pressure on, I think his boxing is way cleaner. The question is, like, how is this fight going to play out? It's probably not going to play out a lot in the pocket, Like, I feel like it's going to be tough for Jake to keep this fight in the pocket. So I kind of lean towards Chidi. But we're also getting the younger fighter in Jake, who I think is a durable guy, got good cardio, always going to, bite down and keep moving forward and looking for that action. He's a guy that went to a decision with Michael Morales, and he actually gave him a pretty solid fight. Like, it wasn't a fight where Michael Morales just ran away with it. It was fairly competitive. Michael Morales was just able to outwork him in some situations, land a little bit more early on in the fight, but Jake never gave up, and round 3 was his best round. So I don't know that Chidi has the best cardio. I don't know that Chidi's the most durable. I also know that Chidi doesn't have the best ground game. Can it be exposed here by Jake Matthews? That was the question. I'm not really sure. What do you think?
I don't think he gets exposed, but I do think it could be a really close fight, and Matthews should look for wrestling in this matchup. If he's smart, his most optimal path to victory would be to mix in a couple takedowns in this fight. I think he can keep it close enough on the feet with his boxing to where a takedown makes it close. 2 takedowns really puts a stamp on the round. And if he can land 1 takedown, I think he could actually keep some top control time and make it clear rounds just with 1 takedown here. So I was going back and forth on this one. I do think Chidi is the better striker. At range and in clinch, he's going to be more dangerous as well. But if Matthews could just keep it close, when I'm going back and forth on it, I think maybe it's going to be a split decision type of fight. And if it's a split decision type of fight, I always want the plus 120 over the minus 150. I mean, every time I hear that it's going to be a split, I hate having, that minus 150, minus 180 ticket. And it's like, man, even if I win this, I feel like I was on the wrong side. But to me, I think it's close enough where I would rather take the plus money on this one. My pick is going to be Matthews by split, but I'm not confident enough that I've even bet it yet. He's just, and it honestly could have been me searching for underdogs. I didn't pick too many underdogs on this card. I got to this one. I'm like, well, this could be one right here. So the plus money and the lack of underdogs on this card is really what made me pick Matthews.
I don't think he's a bad underdog. And when I was looking at the matchup originally, I was like, Matthews at plus 130 is like not bad. Like, I'm going to have to take a look at it. And the wrestling, I think, is going to have to be implemented by Jake. But the problem is when you try to wrestle Chidi, most of the MMA takedowns we get nowadays is guys pushing him up against the cage and then working for the takedown, like with a trip, and just trying to get the guy off balance. But that doesn't really work against Chidi, because if you push him up against the cage, he's just going to get into the clinch, and he's like a monster in the clinch with the knees, with the elbows, and he's so much taller. He's tough to take down. So that's the real problem with Jake in this matchup for me, to where I don't know if I'm going to play it yet. But I'm looking at the odds now, plus 133. Is that what it says on Jake Matthews? I think maybe fight to not go the distance at plus
135.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I know Jake's pretty durable, but I also think Jake could, hit him with something. I mean, people forget, man. But Zaleski hit him with a nice shot, and Chidi was doing like the stanky leg out there in round 1. And then he came back and got the KO. Like, there's a lot of weapons from Chidi that makes him super dangerous. And I think Jake has the hands to put out Chidi as well. He cuts a lot of weight for 170. And Jake does have a submission game on the ground as well. Chidi's been finished many a times, KO or sub. So I think maybe that might be the angle I go with. Fight doesn't
Matthews
go
by split majority or / majority decision plus 1,000. I think that's my spot right there.
Oh yeah, Matthews by split. A little sprinkle for the dogs.
There we go.
It's a good fight though. I like that one. And Chidi's a guy that I've always liked to watch just because he's different type of striker in the UFC. Chidi by decision. He's going to keep the distance. He does keep the distance, but I mean, we'll have a lot more distance to work with in the big cage as well. I think Veronica was a threat on the ground. Murph is no threat. Talking about last fight. Jake jumping Gilly. I mean, Chidi ain't going to shoot a takedown. I highly doubt it. Sub plus 700 on Jake Matthews. That is interesting, man. Because if he does choose to grapple, like, I think he could probably sub Chidi. Not that Chidi's like a bad grappler. I think he's a black belt. But if you make him tired, I think he could tap for sure. All right, we'll move on. Some old men. Max Griffin taking on Chris, the action man Curtis. Chris Curtis going down to 170 after his entire UFC career has been at 185. I don't know why he chose to do it now, because it seems like he might have more success at 170. And now that he's, 37, it's kind of like, why are we doing this? Why are we going to 170? I guess maybe just because he thinks he'll have more success there. Maybe it's just a lifestyle change. He's getting a little bit older. He wants to, slim down. Who knows? But he's also involved in that altercation. I don't know if you saw that. Backing up their teammate. Him and Strick just tried to jump this dude who just won a fight and jerked off at him. I don't know what he was doing.
Strickland entering that cage, dude. I thought it was AI the way he walked in there. I was like, oh my God, that was real.
Such a Strickland walk too. Like when he's pissed off, like he doesn't run. It's just like a fast walk. I think he was in slides too. No socks on, just barefoot in the slides, walking in the cage, speed walking in the cage.
Yeah, and dude.
He I think he was trying to hold himself back. He was like, "Don't do it, Sean. Don't do it, Sean."
He did it anyway.
And Chris,
that sounds about right. Yeah.
Heck, I'm surprised he's not suspended for that.
Yeah. Dana doesn't care what goes on in other organizations, I guess.
Well, I don't think it's Dana. I think it's just the athletic commission because, I mean, they've suspended.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, Armin Sarukian punched a fan. They suspended him for like 9 months. You know, I don't. He didn't. The punch didn't even land either. It was like he whiffed it. He just threw it. But,
yeah, bad look on the Strickland part.
Suspension or otherwise, Chris Curtis is fighting this Saturday, as far as we know. Max Griffin, on the other hand, 40 years of age, not looking good for the guy. Got subbed by Michael Chiesa. But the one thing you can count on with Max Griffin is he is going to be durable. He is going to fight for your money. And this one, to me, seems like a fight where there's not going to be a lot of grappling. It's probably going to be mostly a striking affair. And Chris Curtis moving down a weight class, he's had a good chin. I mean, both these guys have great chins. So I think this fight probably goes to decision. But you know, I think Max can maybe have some moments, but I think Chris Curtis is probably just going to be able to outwork him. I think he's the much better boxer. I think he's probably going to be the guy on the front foot for the majority of it. So I'm thinking Chris Curtis, probably by decision. Maybe you can get cute with it, round 3 or decision. That's kind of the angle I'm looking at right now. What do you think?
Yeah, going to be a striking match for as long as it lasts. I'm not trying to lay minus 315 on Curtis money line with the judges these days, as corrupt as they are. So I think it's another one where you have to play the prop, and my prop would be by decision. You can knock off like 17% on the implied line if you go by decision. And Griffin is tough. I think Curtis isn't necessarily a guy who's trying to take your head off either. It would kind of just be an accumulation of the shots just adding up over the 15 minutes that would put Griffin away, I think. But yeah, give me Curtis by decision. I think he wins at least 2 rounds clearly, but Griffin could take one of them. Minus 140 sounds a lot better to me than minus 315.
Yeah, I think this fight goes to decision, man. I mean, minus 210 for it to go to decision. I mean, I think that's parlayable, or just over minus 240. I think that's a decent parlay leg. I mean, Chris Curtis would have to hit him with a nuclear shot because Max Griffin's he's only been KO'd officially one time, and it was a ground and pound TKO from Colby Covington, which isn't great because, you know, Colby ain't really finishing that many guys, but that was when Colby was in his prime, and Max Griffin just got taken down and put through the ringer. And that's really when he loses fights is when you involve some type of wrestling. But striking-wise, I think he can hang with Chris Curtis for 15 minutes. Probably going to lose, but I think it probably goes over 2.5. And Chris Curtis by decision, minus 140. That's probably the play I'd rather have than the money line at minus 315. Because, I mean, this guy, his only win in his last 5 fights is a win over Marc-Andre Barriault, and it was a split decision. So, I mean, you know, I don't know who's going to be judging, if it's Sal D'Amato, if it's what's his nuts, Mike Bell, Derek Cleary. You never want any of that. Minus 350.
Yeah. With the judges nowadays, I mean, if I had to bet the money line on this one, give me Griffin just because they're that bad.
Yeah. And Max Griffin won a split decision against Jeremiah Wells, which not a lot happened in that fight. So very different fight, but just to throw it out there. We'll hit the chats real quick before we hop into the main card. Curtis decision, says Sergio. I heard from Curtis in a YouTube comment section, ironically, this week. He's been at 190 for over 4 weeks already, so weight won't be an issue. Okay. That's good. Look like a pissed off dad who didn't get his fries. Strickland pulled that punch, so no big deal. I mean, he threw it, but he didn't really throw it. I think he just wanted to intimidate him. Never going to bet on Chris Curtis in my life, and this weekend isn't an exception. I have no bet for this fight. Go ahead, take it off, brother. Nobody's going to fault you for that. Go to the main card. Junior Tafa, Tuco Tokos. I got a funny story about Tuco Tokos if you want to hear it.
Absolutely.
All right. So my buddy Mark Russell makes suits for a lot of the UFC guys. Most recently, just did a collaboration with Patty Pimblett in South Florida, and he was doing Brendan Allen's suit. So Brendan Allen was in his store, and Brendan Allen, his best friend, is probably Tuco Tokos. So they're like main training partners. And he FaceTimed me. He was like, "You want to talk to Brendan Allen?" I was like, "Sure." So I was on FaceTime with Brendan Allen, and he gives the phone to Tuco, and he starts laughing, and he like remembers my face. I said, "What? Like what do you remember me from?" And he's like, "I remember you said when Andre Muniz and Brendan Allen fought that Brendan Allen has good jiu-jitsu, but Andre Muniz has great jiu-jitsu." And they made like some like clip talking about like people that picked against Brendan Allen in that fight, and I was in it.
Wow.
And Andre Muniz obviously got subbed by Brendan Allen, so it made me look like an idiot. But it's just funny that he remembered me from making that video of people picking against Brendan Allen.
That is cool. I feel like I said the same thing, so I'm glad he picked you.
I mean, at that point, I thought, nobody can grapple with Andre Muniz, But I mean, that fight was just stupid in general. But props to Brendan Allen for doing that. But Tuco, on the other hand, 0-2 in the UFC, lost to Umar C, round 1 sub, lost to Navajo Sterling, decision, made it to a decision, but not very competitive. Junior Tafa, we talked about him a little bit earlier. This guy can't grapple. He can only strike. I think he is a pretty good striker, but it's MMA, and, striking when you can't grapple is a little bit different because you can't really overextend yourself. Otherwise, you're going to get taken down. If you're that scared to get taken down, your striking is probably going to come down a little bit. But he's moving down to 205, and it looks like this guy's in good shape, which is cool. But getting in good shape doesn't exactly, shore up your grappling deficiencies. But at least, Tuco, I don't think is some amazing grappler. I don't know what the guy's good at. I don't know what his game plan is going into fights. Looking at his fights on the regional scene as well, I'm like, what does this guy want to do? Like, he's not exactly like blowing through these guys on the regional scene. I think he's just a well-rounded fighter who's not great at anything. But maybe now that I said that, he goes in there, just subs Junior Tafa in round 1, and he clips this up and says that he is not great at anything. Well, he just subbed Junior Tafa. I don't know what to do with this one, man, because Junior Tafa is minus 160, minus 170. And I think he should be able to knock out Tuco. But Tuco, I don't think, has the worst chin. So if he doesn't knock out Tuco might have better cardio. Tuco might be able to land a takedown. I mean, Sean Sheriff almost TKO'd this guy in round 1. And nobody knew who Sean Sheriff was. Big dude. But I think Tuco is probably the better grappler than Sean Sheriff. So what are you doing with this one, man? Because I don't really know.
Well, I'm never laying minus 170 on Junior Tafa in a UFC fight. So for me, this is dog or pass. I think he is the better striker. I think he's much more dangerous. But I also think that if Tuco can land one takedown, he can stay there for the rest of the round. And it doesn't matter how dangerous Junior is on the feet at that point. I think knockouts don't come as often as a lot of people think. And if Tuco can avoid that, land one takedown in 2 rounds, then I think he can win. So this one, dog or pass for me. Maybe it's another split decision type of deal. But I also think he could win unanimously 29-28, even 30-27. So I'd rather take my shot on Tuco. He's an underdog. I'm looking at possibly betting on this card. I just don't have enough faith in Tuco. It's more betting against Tafa as a favorite.
Yeah. I mean, is that not looking decent? Tuco Tokos by decision plus 750.
That does look good.
And I that's the first time I've even looked at it, but that's a big number, dude. I was kind of leaning towards the over at plus 105, but Tafa has some nice striking. Like his shots are pretty accurate, and if he hurts Tuco, I think he could probably put him out. But I mean, if this fight gets past the 7.5 minute mark, I think it could probably go to a decision. The fight goes to decision plus 400.
I think it's wild seeing that Tuco by decision is his least likely way of winning.
Right.
I wouldn't have thought that.
I guess that's just because the fight doesn't go as minus 600. Is that what that says? Jesus, dude. Like, I don't think Tuco is very dangerous, man. Like, he's not going to knock out Junior Tafa unless it's like a straight up grapple fuck where he's just ground and pounding him out. So I don't really think he has that much pop in his hands. I think Tough is a pretty tough guy, pretty durable guy.
Yeah, I don't think he's finishing Tough. I don't know that he's a dangerous enough grappler, and I don't think he knocks Tough out. So I'll be on that plus 750 probably.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to remember that. Tuco by points plus 750, or even just fight goes to decision at plus 400. I mean, he went to a decision his last fight.
Yeah, that's true.
Navajo. So
yeah,
Mike's falling, but I don't think that's too bad. I think that's actually a decent angle. But we'll hit the chats and then we'll hop into the next one. Shout out to Dan in the chat. Half the battle. Wonder if Tuco makes a video for this fight. He might. He might, especially if he wins. But if he loses, probably gonna stay calm. Good afternoon, gentlemen and fight fans. Dr. Pinar, ICU urologist. Good evening to you, my brother. Cheaty's a black belt. Who gave him his black belt? We have to check this. Apparently, he is a black belt, dude. I think I read that somewhere.
When you said that, I was a little surprised, but you could be right.
I think he is.
Yeah. You just wouldn't think it by watching him, I guess.
He's definitely black. You know? I won't put money on either of these guys. That's fair. Yeah, I mean, it's probably a fight that you want to pass on. I'm not.
That's the safest way to go about it. Yeah,
I could have fault you, but that's honestly why I think we're excited about that plus 750. It's like, well, what do you do with this fight? Well, I can take a shot on the plus 750 for Tokos to grind out a decision. I mean, Muhammad Usman did it to him. You know, Muhammad Usman. You watch Muhammad Usman fight, it looks like he's drunk the entire time. All right, moving on to another heavyweight fight. I got to ditch this in because it might pop out. But Vitor Petrino moving up to heavyweight, taking on Austin Lane. Austin Big Chin Lane coming in here after putting on what I would say was his best performance against Mario Pinto. But the moment that chin got touched, it's not like a big power puncher that has the death touch in their fists. It's like the death touch is the chin. Once you touch that chin on Austin Lane, it's just the fight's over.
Just shuts up.
He was piecing up Mario Pinto in round one. He dropped him. He looked amazing, honestly. Best thing I've ever seen him. And then in round two, he just got a little bit confident, got clipped, and got slept. That's the story with Austin Lane. Okay, I don't think he's a great fighter, but the chin is the major concern. And Vitor Petrino, back-to-back losses, decides to move up to heavyweight. I believe he was supposed to move up to heavyweight before the Jacoby fight, and then I think they gave him the Jacoby fight, who was like a good fighter. So I think he maybe, if he won that fight, he would just stay at 205. But now that he lost and he got slept, he's like, all right, I'll go up to 250 or 265 heavyweights, and I'm just going to be the better athlete than a lot of these guys, because a lot of these guys are just fat, and Austin Lane's not fat. He's a good athlete, but the chin is the real concern. I think Vitor is the much better fighter overall, more durable. I think if he wants to get takedowns here against Austin Lane, I think he could do it. But I mean, he's going up against a very big athletic guy who I don't think is like super dangerous on the feet, but he's a little bit awkward. I think this fight just ends with a Vitor Petrino KO. And it's just a question if it comes round one or two. And I think it probably comes round one, because Vitor does have some nice boxing. Like when he lets his hands go, they're solid. But the guy doesn't really throw that much. I mean, maybe at heavyweight, he'll be a little bit more confident because he's a lot faster than these guys. Or maybe he'll be less confident because he doesn't want to get hit with big shots, considering he just got knocked out his last fight. So it's a weird fight in my eyes for Vitor. Maybe one you just want to sit back and watch to see how this guy looks at heavyweight compared to 205. But on paper, I think he knocks out Austin Lane. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he has them covered everywhere except for size. I mean, Lane's going to be the bigger guy. If he can use that size to knock out Petrino, I think that would be his path to victory. But Petrino's the better wrestler. He's the higher volume striker. He's the better boxer. I think he's more durable as well. And I think he's going to have a lot more power at heavyweight. So give me Petrino round one knockout. And if you combine that, we're looking at plus 225. I like that. I think that's like a 30% chance. I feel like there's value on that. I think round one knockout's the way to go. This fight was set up so he doesn't have to work too hard cutting weight, and he can just go out there and get a nice highlight reel KO.
You know what's interesting is like I think Vitor might look for takedowns here, considering he's off the KO loss.
Well, Lane has nothing off his back either. I think Petrino could knock him out on the ground in the first round.
Yeah, he probably could. He probably could just take him down and land like a big,
he's mean, man. He's
stand up, land a big shot down there, and Austin Lane's probably sleeping. But yeah, I think Vitor gets him out of there in round 1 or 2. I mean, round 1 is plus 125. I mean, I don't really think I don't think that's great, but you probably got to play one.
Plus 225 if you make it a KO, though.
Yeah, that's better. That is definitely better. But you'll probably get some better lines later in the week once other options open up. But that one's pretty straightforward. If anyone's putting money on Austin Lane, I mean, I can't blame you because the odds are huge. I'm not playing Vitor money line at minus 700 by any means. Money line bet's probably got to be Austin Lane, and you just got to hope for something. But if you're putting money on Austin Lane, God bless you. Hopefully you are willing to take some L's and move on. But you mind if you restart? Couldn't make it in time. Yeah, we're not going to restart. Sorry.
Start over real quick.
Lane got some insane core. Dude, the way that Austin Lane goes out, it's bad, dude. Like, when I think of what you shouldn't do after playing or like competing at an NFL level is get punched in the face. Like that's probably the worst thing you could do. I mean, did you play football at all or no?
No, I was a little guy. I was talking about it like yesterday at the pool or 2 days ago. My learner's permit is what they called it before you had a driver's license. It said 5'4", 100 pounds. Like I was a little kid. That's what Big Marley was a joke. I was a little dude. People just called me Big Marley as a joke.
Wow. Well, I played football, and I'm gonna tell you now, like head trauma is a real thing.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, I mean, I watch a ton of it.
Yeah,
I mean, fighting is gonna be way worse too because you already see these fighters punch drunk. The guys that I grew up watching, there's some scary videos, man. And when you're dealing with that, helmet to helmet, and then you switch over to fighting, you couldn't be more right on that.
No, I mean, like, I think it's better for like higher level when you're talking about practices. When you think about high school practices, middle school practices, I guess maybe it's better nowadays. But when I was playing, like you were smashing helmets every single day, like over and over and over again. And then in the games, obviously it's worse. But, I've had probably a couple undiagnosed concussions, a couple diagnosed concussions. And even when I'm sparring and I get hit, like I could still feel it, man. Like I get some headaches after. I don't spar too often now, but I can't imagine the amount of reps that head has taken and the fact that he's getting punched by heavyweights. I don't think it's good, man. I really don't.
Yeah, and the chin's never going to get better. I mean, unless you're on steroids, that might help a little bit, but it only gets worse, man. And it is like a light switch. If you get hit in the right spot, especially with that damaged chin, it's just going to be one shot and he's sleeping on his face.
Yeah, you got to call up Bilal Muhammad's doctor to improve that chin,
Yeah, the doctors will do it.
All right, Nate Landwehr taking on Morgan Charrier. I don't know about you, but I think this would be a great opportunity for a remake of the Brian Battle moment. Nate Landwehr comes in here, beats Morgan Charrier, gets on the mic, and says, "Y'all really thought I was going to lose to a French dude? Y'all really thought the train was going to lose to a French dude?" I think that would be amazing. In his home state, Nashville. It's only about an hour away from Clarksville, maybe hour 15. I've driven through it before, driven through Nashville, up to Clarksville, stayed at a hotel in Clarksville. Clarksville is not much of a city. I'll just say that's just not much of a city. But either way, I mean, he's going to be real close to his home city. So a lot of motivation for Nate. I thought he looked awful against Doo Ho Choi. I had a bet on Doo Ho Choi, so I was happy about it. But I thought Nate would actually put up a better fight than he did. And now he's coming in as a plus 200 dog to Morgan Charrier, who also looked awful in his last fight against Nathaniel Wood. So, I mean, we got two guys coming off pretty bad performances, like maybe career worst performances when you talk about how the fight actually played out. And one guy's minus 260 and the other guy's plus 210. Like Nate Landwehr, I think if he can get some forward pressure going, I don't know that Morgan Charrier really likes that. I mean, I think he's a solid striker, but I don't think he's like some elite striker that's going to make Nate Landwehr pay. I don't know that Morgan's going to be having a lot of success taking down Nate Landwehr, and I think Nate could maybe have some success taking down Morgan Charrier. So it's a very, very interesting line, in my opinion. The only downside really is that, you know, Nate's getting up there in age. He's had a lot of damage, and he looked terrible his last fight. But, you know, either this is a great bounce back for Morgan Charrier or he's going to be put through the ringer against Nate Landwehr. What do you think?
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that Morgan wins this fight by mixing in wrestling. I didn't spend too much time on it, though. Didn't even consider it being in Landwehr's hometown. I think he is the perfect kind of guy for a hometown to pump him up. He's going to be pumped up either way, but an extra pumped up Landwehr, that's going to be fun to see. I mean, this guy's a madman. He's going to be going forward. He's not a talented striker, I don't think, but he's just a crazy striker. He's aggressive. He'll push forward. He'll try to knock your head off, and he'll keep doing it for 15 minutes. And I think that could beat Morgan here. If Morgan's not having success with takedowns, I think that the underdog would be the way to go in this one. But I do think Morgan's going to win 29-28 just based on what I was thinking would be wrestling. Man, you got to fight smart. And I've lost a lot of money on relying on fighters to fight smart. And that's a big line to pay on Morgan. If we don't think he's going to have success wrestling, I'm not going to lay minus 270 on Morgan to win this fight, just money line. I would much rather take my chances on the decision. But you almost have me switching my preferred side on this one. I'd almost rather see Landwehr win, get on the mic, hear him say some crazy shit. And that would be a more fun fight, too, if he does win, rather than Morgan getting a couple takedowns and just really staying in top control for 7 or 8 minutes of this fight, which won't be as exciting. I just think that's the more likely path.
Yeah, I just look at Nate as a guy that I'm not going to be laying chalk on. But when he's a plus 200 dog or higher, like I'm definitely going to take a look because he's got insane heart. He's got great cardio. I think his skill set overall is pretty well put together. I think it just comes down to the damage that he's going to wear and the durability. He didn't look great against Duo Choi, but he also took some solid shots. It wasn't like he was getting, knocked down left and right. So I think the durability is still there. And I don't really think Morgan is some amazing grappler where he's going to be able to take him down and put him in the positions that Choi did. The real reason I bet on Choi there was because I thought he had made some really amazing improvements that we saw in the Algeo fight. And I thought if he did that against Nate, he could definitely win. It just went way easier than I thought it was going to be. And maybe this is the decline for Nate Landwehr, but, considering he's got great cardio, got a good skill set, he fighting in his home country, or not home country, his home country, yes, but his home state, near his home city, and he's plus 220. Like, I think I'll probably get to some kind of Nate Landwehr bet. And Charrier is another guy that I'm not going to be playing at chalk unless he's against, the Manolo Zacchinis or the Gabriel Mirandas of the world, not against Nate Landwehr. I think the over 2.5 looks pretty solid to me. I don't think Morgan's going to finish Nate unless he just hits him with some insane shot. Like, it's going to have to be real clean. But I don't really believe in Charrier's power like that. So I think over 2.5 at minus 170 is not a bad look. And Charrier's a guy that is ultra durable. I think he's only been finished once in like 30 some professional fights, and it was a long time ago. I don't really see Nate putting him away. I think Landwehr by decision, plus 450. I don't think that's bad at all, man. Plus 450 for Nate Landwehr to get his hand raised by the judges. I mean, the crowd could definitely swing some of those judges' decisions.
What's by split? We're getting 4 digits on that.
We're getting plus 1,000. Nate Landwehr by split.
There we go.
That's enticing.
Parlaying Landwire by split and Jake Matthews by split together. Let's get it.
Yeah, what would that pay like?
And Tokos by split. And then,
Tokos.
then
Yeah,
we're rich.
and Tokos. All right, we'll read some of these chats. This ain't Miranda Fettuccine, Manolo Fettuccine, or Gabriel Miranda anymore. Facts, dude. Like, those are his UFC wins. Like, you should absolutely be knocking those guys out. I don't think Manolo Zacchini or Manolo Fettuccine has had a fight since. Like, they just brought that dude in to fill a spot, essentially. Charrier is better all around and has more power in his hands than Nate. I think he'll be the better athlete. I think might have more pop in his hands, but that doesn't exactly mean you're going to win the fight. I mean, if Charrier wins, I just don't really expect it to be like a blowout. Like, if he wins, I think it'll be somewhat competitive. That's kind of why I'm leaning towards the Landwehr side. What's the dist at on the distance? Goes to decision. -140. It's not bad. Not bad.
Yeah, I like that.
Love how Nate the Train was beating up on the Russians pre-UFC because it's so funny. But I hate he's struggling to get ranking at featherweight. Yeah, dude. I mean, people forget, man. Nate Landwehr was running that M1 promotion out in Russia. Nobody does that, man. Nobody in the U.S. is taking fights in M1. Like, they're taking fights in Fury, in LFA. Like, these shit promotions. I don't want to call them shit, but like the level of competition in Fury and these promotions on the regional scene, it's just not good. Unless you're going to like more the West Coast where they have like a bunch of Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan guys, like, and Russians. Like, I think the East Coast regional competition is just terrible. Like, it's the worst.
He's crazy enough to do it.
Yeah, exactly. I was there when he won a split decision in San Diego versus Onama. Might have to sprinkle on that plus 1,000. Dude, that's exactly what I'm talking about, because like David Onama should absolutely beat Nate Landwehr. Like, there's no way that Onama should.
He knocked him out. Knocked him out clean. Woke up by hitting the ground.
He knocked him out clean. That was one of the greatest fights that I've watched, just as far as like a pure entertainment value. Because you were like, I mean, Nate could have like finished him in round 3 too. He just kept letting him up. I was like, dude, this dude is literally insane. Like, he has he's in half guard. Onama's not moving, and he's just letting him up just so they can fight on the feet. It was crazy. Crazy.
Yeah, like, I mean, I lost money on it, but it was like one of the fun times losing money.
I think I did too. I think I had Onama in a parlay, or I had Onama by KO, and I was like, of course, this is how I lose a KO bet. He literally knocked him out in round 1. All right, we'll get to another banger. Calvin Kattar taking on Steve Garcia. I don't know about you, but when we're talking about fighters that I like to watch, Steve Garcia, he's up there. All right, this dude brings it every single time. From the jump, this dude's looking to take your head off. 5 knockout wins in a row. He gets a big matchup against the big name in Calvin Kattar. But I think there's one problem. One problem is that Calvin Kattar's never been knocked out. So Steve Garcia can't knock him out in the first round. I'm not saying he's going to gas out, but I don't know what his win condition really looks like, because is he going to be winning a ton of minutes? Maybe. But I also think Calvin Kattar could knock out Steve. Steve's been dropped many times in the UFC. It's just he throws himself into that fire, and maybe he comes out on top, but he's knocking out a lot of guys that I don't think hold a feather to, you know, the striking abilities of Calvin Kattar or the durability. So I'm kind of leaning towards Kattar here as a slight underdog, but I don't know if I want to get in front of the Steve Garcia train, dude. Fucking 5 knockouts in a row. This dude's made me a lot of money on the way as well. Like, am I really going to turn my back on Steve Garcia right now? I just think it's a tough matchup against a really durable guy who could maybe snipe him. You know, I think Calvin Kattar's right hand could definitely land on Steve Garcia, and I don't know that I trust Steve to take that shot. So kind of leaning towards Kattar here as the slight dog, but what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's not often you see a guy on a 5-fight knockout win streak facing a guy who has lost 5 of his last 6 fights, and he's just barely favored.
Right.
I feel like on the Garcia side, this just seems like a trappy play. You would expect him and those stats to have him like minus 175, minus 200 or something like that. But if he's not knocking Cater out, I just think Cater's the better boxer. I think Cater's going to be ahead on volume over the course of 3 rounds. I don't think Garcia is going to be reckless for 15 whole minutes and throw that same type of aggressive volume that he does in early round 1. So my pick is going to be Cater here. I haven't made any bets yet on this card. Cater's my most likely play that I plan on pulling the trigger on in the next possible day or two. I really don't even know why I haven't yet. I favor him in this matchup slightly. And he's got a plus next to his name. So I always like to see that. I'm sure I'll pull the trigger tonight. Give me Cater by decision. Or, yeah, actually, he might get a TKO of his own. I mean, Garcia's been knocked down 5 times in the UFC. I mean, Cater's not a knock your head off type of guy, but he's accurate. He throws nice straight shots. And Garcia's been knocked down by worse guys than Cater. So, yeah, I could definitely see the TKO as well.
Yeah, one thing I brought up last week on Dan's show, I think, was the betting odds on Brandon Royval, like in his last 4 fights. He was an underdog in 3 of them, or maybe it was all 4, I forget. But what I'm trying to say with it is, like, Royval wasn't exactly supposed to win those fights, so I think he's kind of an overachiever, and that's Joshua Van won the fight, so at least I look somewhat smart there. But when I look at Steve Garcia, over his 5-fight win streak, he was a plus 245 dog to Chase Hooper. Got it done. Plus 150 to Shilan Nurdenbeke. Got it done. Plus 215 to Melky Costa. Got it done. Then it's like, okay, 3 knockout wins in a row. It's going up against Song Woo Choi, who's not exactly some amazing fighter. He was only minus 150. And then against Kyle Nelson, he's minus 185. Kyle Nelson was on a nice streak, but again, not some amazing fighter. So the books have never really thought of Steve Garcia as like some killer that's supposed to be running through all these guys. So I think he's kind of an overachiever. Maybe he's met his match against Calvin Kattar, but let's look at the odds. As I said, I think Calvin Kattar as the slight dog is definitely calling my name. Kattar by KO plus 200. Not bad at all, dude.
I just bet Cater. I just bet it money line. Let's get it.
Okay, there we go. I'm also kind of interested in the under 1.5 plus 130. You know, like Steve is a kill or be killed, and
the more I think about it, I do think Cater knocks him out.
Yeah, I mean, I think I like all 3 of those. It's just like which one do I play? Which ones do I not play? Cater money line under 1.5 plus 130. Cater KO plus 200. I mean, maybe you could play under 1.5 and Cater money line.
I mean, money line is my favorite way to bet when I think there's value there. I don't cap props. I only cap money lines, but I favor Cater outright in this one. I think the line should be more than flipped.
Yeah, I agree. Someone's getting knocked out. Sprinkle Garcia round 1 and 2 and full unit Cater money line. I mean, that's just you're kind of spraying and praying at that point. What's Steve Garcia round 1? Oh my God, it's plus 600. How does that? Yeah, it's plus 600. How does that make sense? He's a favorite.
Yeah, that's his best path to victory. He's a favorite.
They're saying that's less of a chance than Calvin Kattar round 1 KO. That's fucking weird. Maybe that's just maybe that got messed up. I don't know, but that is also very weird. Those odds on Garcia round 1 or 2 KO are pretty big, though. Wow. Yeah, I mean that's fair enough. Slips. I mean, if you're getting plus 600 on Steve Garcia round 1 or 2 KO, that's definitely up there. What's going on, Pablo? Will there be a long shot parlay show this week? Absolutely. Cater sub. Don't really see it. Garcia by decision. Wow. I mean, it's possible. I mean, if Calvin Kattar just eats the shots and Garcia can keep it up, it could happen. Garcia low-key would have been a nice addition to their Noche event. Very true. As soon as I saw that on Bet Online, I bet it. I mean, those odds are definitely tempting for Garcia. Plus 600, plus 750 for a guy that is 5 knockouts in a row in round 1 or 2. And he's minus 123. Like, definitely tempting. I could see why you would want to play that. All right, let's get into the co-main event. We're almost to the main event. If you haven't already, like the stream for me real quick. It's free. We're breaking down the entire card. We're going probably going to be over an hour and a half, giving you our time. So least you could do for us is hit the like button for us. Make sure you follow us. And let's get into the co-main event. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, or the Wonder Man, the Wonder Old Man. He's very old, but I do think he still has all the skills that he needs to win fights at the UFC. But they're not giving him any favors here, man. Like they gave him Buckley, they gave him Shavkat, they gave him Kevin Holland, and Kevin Holland probably should have won that fight if he had just like fought with his strengths. Bilal Muhammad and Gilbert Burns, but I mean, they're not giving him a favor here with Gabriel Bonfim, dude. Like, I think Bonfim is legit. Like, I think he's a really solid striker who has decent takedowns and a dangerous submission game, like a really dangerous submission game. I don't know that Wonderboy is going to have a ton of success in this fight if Gabriel Bonfim has the right game plan. What's the game plan to me? He's got to blitz him with, first of all, he's got to either be in or be out. Like, you can't just stand at kicking range with Wonderboy and expect to win. Like, you got to be in or out. You're either going to be in, throwing your combinations, level changing, or you're going to be outside of kicking range. You can't be just standing there allowing Stephen Wonderboy to kick you. So if he has the game plan of got to be in and out, you got to be looking for the takedowns, you got to be looking to take this guy to the ground, I think he wins. But he's not, I don't think he's the most experienced guy, but I do think he has a really good skills. Like the jab on this guy, I think is amazing. Now his jab's probably not going to be super effective here against Wonderboy, who's tough to hit to the head. But he also has some really solid leg kicks, which I think could allow him to get Wonderboy off balance and then try to look for takedowns there. Wonderboy has decent first level takedown defense, but once you get him down, I think Bonfim's probably going to be able to either wear on him or snatch something up. So Bonfim, I don't think is some amazing, or he's not really a guy that goes in there looking to wrestle right away. I think he just sets up his striking, establishes his striking, and then mixes it in. So maybe it could come, rounds 2 or round 3, but Bonfim, I think, is going to win this fight. I mean, he's minus 400 or nearing minus 400. So I'm not saying anything crazy there, but we're talking money lines, like plus 300 on Wonderboy. Is that crazy or not?
I mean, at 42 years old, I just can't. I can't do it. I don't think Bonfim is dumb enough to just have a kickboxing fight with Thompson. If he wants to test his striking, then just go in there and let it all out in the first round. And like you said, all in, but go for the kill. I think Bonfim could knock him out in the first round. He's dangerous. He's a good striker. On the regional scene, he never even had to look for takedowns because he would just be beating the shit out of the other guy, and then they would try to clinch up, and he would submit them right away. Now he's got like 10 takedowns in the octagon at this point. And Thompson's been taken down like 10 times in his last 4 or 5 fights. It's really just a clear path to victory. Go in there, blitz him if you want to. If it doesn't work, then get the takedown. And if he gets a takedown, I think he works his way to a submission. I think Bonfim finishes him either way, but submission's my pick. It's just that's plus 130. You're not getting a lot of value with it. But at 42 years old, I just don't think we're going to see Thompson get another UFC win at this point. Give me Bonfim to finish him in the first round, probably.
They must be paying Wonderboy some good coin.
Well, he's probably making at least $250,000 here.
He had that thing where he declined the fight with Michelle Pereira, who missed the fight and then said he didn't get paid. So they must be paying this guy like some good money. They're not giving him anything easy. Like Michael Chiesa's getting the Court McGee's and Wonderboy's getting Bonfim and Buckley. It's like, obviously they're not on the same not on the same level, but like still, like you could give
Especially if it's a $250,000 to show, $250,000 to win, they definitely are not get his hand raised.
Yeah, yeah, for real. They'll save themselves a $250,000 by giving Bonfim what, $40K? Like,
yeah, 20 to show, 20 to win, probably. Yeah.
All right, Bonfim looking better every fight. Gabriel, that it, yeah, not Ishmael, but Bonfim 13 sub wins. That's a lock. Well, I mean, you're gonna have to pay plus 130.
I hate the L word. That takes me off of it. Now he's going to win a decision.
Yeah, right. The L word. I think round 2-3 sub for Bonfim could be it, dude.
2-3?
2-3.
Maybe. I think he gets him early. I think he might knock him out in the first round, or maybe try just club and sub type of thing. I don't know. I think he comes out aggressive and really tries to put a stamp on it. Because if you finish Thompson early, you're knocking on the door for a title at that point, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or at least, fighting that type of competition.
Yeah, like you're in the conversation for like, guys.
You're making noise at least.
Yeah, for sure. I just think, went to round 2 with Shavkat, round 3 with Buckley, I was about to say made it to decision with Bilal Muhammad, but that's a given. That's a given with Bilal. I think Bonfim 2-3 sub. Maybe the fight doesn't go. Is it minus one?
I mean, if Thompson wins, I think he would knock out Bonfim. So fight doesn't go. Looks good to me. Yeah,
that's not bad, dude. That's 155. Whew. Might have to play that. Honestly, I kind of like that. Because I think Bonfim's an aggressive striker too. Like,
yeah,
if he commits to his shots, Thompson just got knocked out his last fight. Who's to say Bonfim doesn't hit him with a big shot and maybe pounces on the neck or just straight up knocks him out? So, not really too much to say about that one, but the fan in me will sort of be rooting for Wonder Boy to get it done. For sure.
Anthony Pettis knocked out Stephen Thompson. Why can't Bonfim?
It's true. True, Anthony. The great Anthony Pettis, Wisconsin's pride. The pride of Wisconsin, Anthony Pettis. Shout out to him. Brings us to the main event. Derek Lewis taking on Taliesin Teixeira. Derek Lewis coming in here after a year off. Kind of rare for Derek Lewis to take a year off. Like, I feel like he's usually fighting like every 6 months or so, 5-6 months. But he did have a win against Rodrigo Nascimento, who has since been cut and made it over to the PFL. Won his first fight in the tournament, but it was a very close decision against like a 5-0 guy or like a 5-1 guy. And then lost his next fight against the guy that lost to the championship last year for the PFL. So that's what Rodrigo Nascimento has done since that fight. Derek Lewis hasn't fought, but he's fighting Taliesin Teixeira, who's 6'7", big Brazilian. Round 1 KO on the Contender Series. Round 1 KO in his UFC debut. This guy's never been out of the round 1. He's finished everybody in round 1. And this is the year of the undefeated fighter losing their L. This is also the year of the male Brazilian fighters losing in the main events. So there's a lot riding on Taliesin Teixeira to get this W for the male fighters of Brazil, for the undefeated fighters of the world. He is favored to do so. He's minus 270. I'm going to let you have the floor on the main event before I give my thoughts.
I mean, I think it's an easy. We're getting a knockout in this one. Who's it going to be? My guess is going to be Teixeira. But if Lewis does one thing, it's hit hard. And Teixeira ate a lot of shots in that Contender Series fight. If he's eating those shots from Lewis, he's going to sleep. But he is a lot taller, longer, faster, much more skilled and athletic. He has more tools in his striking toolbox. He just has to not get knocked out. I think Lewis could also power his way to a takedown or two in this fight, but I don't see him winning a decision. I think we're getting a knockout no matter what. I'm going to take Teixeira to get it. I think maybe a knee or two to the body Lewis isn't going to like, and then he can put him away. Maybe ref steps in there. Maybe he's not sleeping. Ref steps in to save him some damage, but this looks to me like a setup fight to boost up the young kid over a big name.
Yeah, you mentioned the Contender Series fight because I remember that I was like, dude, this Towson Teixeira guy might be a problem. And he was getting hit with some shots by that guy on the Contender Series. But the problem is that dude that he fought, for one, is a bum, but also two, that guy was like ultra aggressive. Like he knew he had no way of winning this fight unless he landed some big bomb. And he was swinging. And Towson was like, all right, you want to swing? I'll swing. And he found the kill shot after he ate a couple, but also landed a couple big ones on the guy. Derek Lewis is just not that aggressive. Like he is a low.
When he wants to be, he is though. But he might, like the Volkov fight, he might sit back for 12 minutes doing nothing, and then he's like, you know what, time to step it up, and then just come throwing bows. And that if he does the same thing that the guy on the Contender Series fight does, I think he wins. But you have to be aggressive, come out, kill or be killed. I would take Lewis in a phone booth fight. I just don't trust him to do that.
Yeah, dude, I don't trust him either because he, like you said, at times he just sits back. He just like sits back, and he kind of wants to like lull you into this slow pace. You throw one, I throw one type of heavyweight fight, but I don't think Towson's going to give him that. Like Towson is a forward pressure, big, lot of combinations. He really tries to get you out of there in round one. Like that's what he's trying to do. Could he get caught by Derek? Absolutely. I mean, Derek flying kneed Marcos Rogério de Lima. He knocked out Curtis Blades with an uppercut. Like he's done it before. I think he's an overachiever. He does have nuclear power if he lands that big shot. I just don't really see, unless he lands a big shot, like how he's going to win. Like Towson's probably going to put the pressure on him early. And we've seen when guys put the pressure on Derek Lewis, he doesn't really like it. Like Tai Tuivasa put pressure on this guy. He got folded with an elbow. Sergey Pavlovich put pressure on this guy, got knocked out in under a minute. Like he doesn't like to be pressured. And Towson's a pressure fighter who's 6'7" with a long reach, big power. I think Towson probably gets him out of there in round 1 or 2. Right now, on the odds, Towson round 1 KO. Plus 200, that's not bad. Round 2 KO, just for a little insurance, plus 400.
What's fight ends in round 1?
Oh, that might be it.
I didn't see it anywhere.
I didn't see it either. I mean, the under 1.5 is what, minus 210.
Yeah, that's big.
Fight ends round 1 is probably going to be like minus 140.
I feel like it'll be minus 110.
Minus 110? Maybe. I mean, you could just get real safe. Strap the condom on and go fight doesn't go.
I'm probably just hoping it's minus 110. It's not going to be minus 110.
Yeah, probably not, dude. I think you're probably going to be playing like at least minus 130 on ends round. Or is there a fight ends by KO?
Either fighter wins by minus 6. That looks about right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
there might be value there. Minus 650 is 86%. Maybe a little value.
Yeah, and then Towson does have a sub on his record.
Oh, I'd be so pissed actually. Oh, yeah, you're right. I mean, I'm not doing it anyways. Minus 650, but
yeah, that's great. But Towson round 1 or 2 for me. I think he gets it done. Gets it done by KO. I think that's going to do it. We'll hit the chats real quick, and then we'll hop out of here. But Vinny Diaz, Towson KO. Black Beast by Masvidal jumping knee. That was such a sick KO. I remember having money on Derek Lewis at plus 200 in that fight. The way he got it done was ridiculous. Derek's going to kill him or quit. That's also true. Derek at times can be a bit of a quitter. That's why I said like if stuff's not going his way, like he'll find it.
Couple body shots. I mean, that way you don't even have to get knocked out. Take the brain damage.
Exactly.
Just hold the stomach.
Yeah. Lewis, he's probably going to shit or something. That's always a thing. He might just eat a whole bucket of KFC before he walks out there, and then he's got a shit. So you never know. How much is the fight goes the distance go? I think it was like plus 500, plus 600.
You get rich.
If Jilton Almeida comes back, maybe it could happen. Lewis is not trying to be a hero. He's out round, not trying to be a hero. That's crazy. Smash the like button for my brother Hey Jive and brother Big Marley. That is very much appreciated, Dan. Hit the like button for us. We're going to hop out of here, though. We're up at an hour and 30. Thanks for sitting with me. Big Kyle Marley, who was, I guess, very small in his high school days, 5'4", 100 pounds. Dang, not even a flyweight.
Yeah, I think that might be the first time I've even mentioned that. Been around the industry for like 10 years now. I don't even know if I've shared my Big Marley story or not.
That's funny. Well, let the chat know where they can find you, and then we'll hop out of here.
Yeah, it's the X at Big Marley 3. I also do a DFS show each week at Ship It Nation on YouTube. If you want to go check us out, we usually do it on Thursday nights. I think that's when we'll be doing it this week. My usual co-host won't be there, so we got a special guest co-host who is a beast in the DFS streets. So check that out. But good luck to you, Hayden. Thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it. Good luck to everybody listening. Let's make some money on this card.
I hope so. Again, apologies for anyone that was at the beginning of the stream. We're trying to figure out all the technical difficulties. There's like a billion wires in this room, so we're trying to figure it out in the new studio, and hopefully we could bring this studio to life real soon. But appreciate y'all for joining the stream, like it for us, subscribe to the channel. We'll be back here throughout the week with the official picks video tomorrow, best bets video on Thursday, long shots only live stream on Friday. Make sure you hit those up. Don't miss them. Till next time, AJ Picks and Big Kyle Marley